everybody. So today I'm going to talk about what are highly sensitive people and what are things about them that I don't really know. Or maybe you're a highly sensitive person and you're like, what are some things I can understand about myself? Well, I'm not an expert on all the sensitive people in the entire world, but I have lived in my body and in myself for a while. And these are things that I've observed about myself as I came to realize how sensitive I actually was. Now, sensitivity is a physical trait. It's how deeply you process certain stimuli, like bright lights and loud noises. But also, we are antennae for other things that perhaps less sensitive people can't pick up, like energy. Energy is invisible, and energy comes from things like emotion. And this brings me to number one. We know how you are truly feeling. Oftentimes, we will try to hide how we truly feel. We don't want our mother to know that we're upset that she can't come to our big game. So we hide it. Oh, that's okay, Mom, that's fine. But we know how you're feeling. We can see through you. There is a mask that you put on, but the mask for an HSP is for a highly sensitive person, is flimsy. The mask is nearly invisible. I can see through you like a laser beam. And it doesn't matter how well you try to hide, how well you act, unless you're a superb actor. And even then, the energy will emanate off you, and we can just tell how you're feeling. So if you're with a sensitive person who doesn't really seem to fall for any of your tricks, or who kind of just goes in for the deep stuff head first, and you don't really understand why, it's because we can see through you. And honestly, that's why a lot of us are really patient and kind and caring, because we know how scared and feeble and just how good everybody really is. That's how I feel anyway. And we just want everyone to feel really, really good. Which brings me to number two. We can tell when you're upset with us. Sometimes before you can tell that you're upset with us. And this is really bothersome sometimes, because this person, oh, Mom, that's okay, you can't come to my big game. Really, that's fine. That's fine. And we can hear that edge on the end of your voice. We can hear it, we can feel it, we can see it. Just everything about you screams, I'm upset with you. But you're not saying it. So we think, are we supposed to pretend that we don't know that you're upset with us? Because we don't want you to be upset with us. We want you to not be upset with us. We want everyone to be happy all the time, because if you're not, then it's really overwhelming and sad. So know that if you're upset with someone that is very sensitive, they can tell. They can tell. Kind of like when you're mad at a puppy. They understand the tone of your voice. So if you yell at a dog like this, even like, I love you, Joey, the dog is going to be like, ugh. Because the dog can tell by the tone of your voice. And HSPs are like that. We can just tell by the tone of your voice and just by everything else. So next time you are angry or feeling upset with a sensitive person, don't try to hide it. Communicate. Which brings us to number three. Because we can tell when people are upset with us, we kind of feel under constant pressure to keep everybody happy. This is how we fall into these roles as therapists. I've been so many people's therapist. I'm an excellent therapist. And man, like 99% of the time, I don't even notice I'm doing it. Because I feel everybody's emotions, and I don't like feeling negative emotions. It's really overwhelming and scary. So I try to keep everybody happy and calm and light and free. But, it's exhausting. So next time somebody really sensitive is trying to calm you down, this is really nice, right? It's nice to receive. We all love a bit of being calm. We love it when somebody comforts us, but be a little sensitive to their needs, because oftentimes a sensitive person is ignoring themselves in order to make you feel better, in order to make themselves feel better. But pay mind that they're expending energy on you when they really should be focusing on themselves and how to calm themselves down independently of how you feel. Because this is what we should all be aiming for, right? So just a little factoid to keep in mind, just a little goal to work toward for everybody. For everybody, sensitive people and non-sensitive people. Being able to manage our emotions independently of how others feel. So we have number 4, which is we are very, very affected by violence, by violent video games, by violent television, by violent images, and in general. When you're watching a horror movie, or you want to watch a horror movie with your sensitive friend, and your sensitive friend is like, maybe they don't want to say anything, but keep in mind that they probably don't want to watch it because violence is horrible. Like, think of being able to feel everybody's emotions all the time. And then think of that being translated to television, right? Television is really intense for us because that's, a lot of stuff happening all at once. Really intense emotions because it's television, right? So think of that, and then horror movies. Think of somebody dying and being able to feel somebody's emotions as they're dying, or as they're shooting somebody, or as they're shooting 50 people, or as somebody is being tortured. That's a lot. So be sensitive to sensitive people when it comes to violent images, especially those things you used to do in the early 2000s with those pop-up images and those scary zombie faces, and I had so many of those and I hated those. No. Okay, number 5. This comes back to us sort of incidentally being people's therapists. We can see other people's emotions, and in that, we can see other people's pain. So some people, most people, say everybody, really, suppresses their pain. We go through things as children, and sometimes we just don't let that pain go. Blah. So we keep it around with us. And sensitive people, again, our antennae, we can see it. So we can see if you have pain. Like, we carry pain, That book, The Things We Carry, about the soldier who goes to war and sees a lot of bad stuff, he carries his pain around with him. Like when an incident comes up, say like when you're talking about your mom, we can just see the pain. We can see the past pain like embedded in you when you talk about that subject. So it's just, we can see the embedded past inside of you, which is why we make great therapists, because we know exactly what to extract. And the less you're in pain, the less I have to feel your pain, which is really nice. Notice when a sensitive person is being your therapist, so maybe you can be like, hey, listen, you don't have to absorb my feelings. Go off to a corner and chill, dude. Okay, number 6. We know how everybody's feeling all the time. At least I do. But that doesn't really include ourselves sometimes. We feel things. Oh, we certainly feel things. But do we notice when we feel things? Sometimes no. Sometimes just because an HSP is sensitive to energy around them doesn't mean that they really are conscious of how they are feeling all the time. Don't assume that because a sensitive person knows your emotions that they necessarily know how they themselves are feeling. Okay, number 7. So, things like this. This is a rose quartz. This is a stone. This is a crystal. And you'll see a lot of people collecting crystals, or maybe doing psychic readings, or doing things where they read the energy around them. I am of the firm belief that even though we can't see energy, like I said in the beginning, it's there in the form of, for example, emotions. So HSPs, for example, usually are psychics, or psychics are usually HSPs, right? Or, well, both, all intermixed. Because we can feel these energies around us. That's how we know how you're feeling, because we can feel it. So some people, I can't, but some people can feel ghosts or see ghosts, talk to ghosts sometimes, or spirits, because spirits are energy. Everything is energy. Yeah, including things sometimes not visible to the naked eye. So if you're like, ghosts, rocks, what are you even talking about? Just know that it's like if everybody was blind and they'd be like, what do you mean? There's like a color. Like, what is color? What are you talking about? What do you mean you can see things? What are you even talking about? It's the same thing. Like, what do you mean you can feel emotions and like this rock like says something to you? What are you talking about? It's the same thing. Our senses are just more attuned to that kind of thing. Okay, so that is 7 things about highly sensitive people that you maybe did not know, and is very useful to know probably. So, I hope you enjoyed this video. My name is Sarah, and I hope to see you again soon.